Somewhere in the last 50 years, your immune system forgot the difference between a peanut and a parasite, and nobody thought to write the eulogy. It didn't happen because your body changed. Your body is almost exactly what it was 10,000 years ago. It happened because the world your body was built to expect quietly disappeared, one comfort at a time, so slowly that no one noticed a single thing going missing. In the 1970s, food allergy in American children sat under 1%. Ask a pediatrician today, and it's closer to 1 in 13. This isn't better diagnosis catching up to an old problem. The researchers who've spent entire careers on that gap keep landing on the same uncomfortable answer. Something about modern life is actively teaching the immune system to attack things that were never a threat. We didn't get sicker, we got cleaner, more processed, more sealed indoors, and a body built for a dirtier world started treating peace as war. What follows are 10 quiet extinctions. Each one on its own looked exactly like progress. 1. The dirt under your fingernails. A child born in the 1970s spent the afternoon with both hands in the soil, knees in creek mud, mouth on things an adult today would sanitize on sight. That wasn't neglect, it was a conversation. Every fistful of dirt carried microbes that spoke directly to a developing immune system, teaching it, sample by sample, what counted as friend and what counted as foe. Strip that conversation away too early, and the immune system graduates without ever learning the difference, which is exactly what we started doing the moment we decided the safest childhood was the cleanest one and moved the whole thing indoors. 2. The barn. We stopped living beside. Because for most of human history, the richest version of that conversation happened on a farm. Children raised breathing barn dust and handling livestock have long shown measurably lower rates of allergic disease than kids in the very same countries who grew up off the farm. Not because barns are magical, because a barn is loud with microbial noise, and that noise trains an immune system the way scales train an ear. As families left the land, fewer children got the lesson. And having pulled the body away from the animals that used to teach it from the outside, we then went one step further and started rewriting the bacteria on the inside. 3. The antibiotic, reissued as a reflex. A single course of antibiotics before a first birthday can permanently reshape which bacteria set up residence in a child's gut. Sometimes the ones that leave never come back. For decades, we treated antibiotics as a harmless reset button, a thing you reached for at the first cough. No cost, no consequence. It was one of the great gifts of modern medicine, and we used it like tap water. Only later did we understand that a gut, once thinned out, doesn't simply grow back, and that the thinning itself teaches the immune system to misfire. We were so focused on killing what could hurt the child that we never asked what we were killing that had been quietly protecting him. And the very first version of that trade-off now arrives before baby has taken a single breath of outside air. 4. The C-section. A vaginal birth hands an infant its first inheritance on the way out. A full coating of its mother's bacteria, the body's opening lesson in what the world is made of. The surgical birth, far more common since the 1970s, and often the thing that saves both mother and child, skips that handoff entirely. Through no one's fault, on a day a family was simply trying to survive, an infant starts life with a thinner, less varied bacterial inheritance, and 2 decades of research are still adding up what that quiet gap costs down the line. Nobody put that cost on the consent form, and the next lesson the newborn was counting on, the one that comes from the breast, was, for millions of infants, about to go missing too. 5. The formula that replaced a conversation. Breast milk was never only food. It carries antibodies, sugars, and living bacteria that formula, whatever else it does, cannot fully replicate. As formula feeding spread through the late 20th century, an early source of immune instruction quietly vanished for millions of infants. Not through malice, not through anyone's failure. Just the ordinary arithmetic of modern parenting. A mother returning to work, a schedule that couldn't bend, a decision made with love and no warning label. We didn't just change what babies ate, we changed what their immune systems were told to expect from the world. And an immune system raised on the wrong expectations doesn't forget the lesson. It just applies it wrong, for the rest of a life it was trying to protect. 6. The advice that caused the very thing it meant to prevent, which is exactly the trap the experts themselves walked into. For years, pediatric guidance told parents to delay peanuts, eggs, the common allergens, keep them away from the baby as long as possible, just to be safe. It was well-intentioned. It was also, the evidence eventually proved, backward. The landmark LEAP trial found that early, regular exposure to peanuts in infancy sharply lowered the risk of a peanut allergy compared to avoidance. An entire generation of parents was taught to protect by withholding at the exact moment the immune system needed the opposite. And when they weren't withholding the allergen, they were quietly swapping out the food it lived in. 7. The casserole that came from a factory. A 1970s dinner table ran on ingredients a grandmother could name with her eyes closed. She wasn't just cooking, she was the last person in the house who knew where food came from, which vegetable belonged to which month, how to stretch a cheap cut, what a meal was supposed to leave behind in you. When the factory casserole replaced her, we didn't only lose flavor, we lost the keeper of that knowledge and handed her seat at the stove to a supply chain. And the swap reached deeper than taste. Fiber-starved, sugar-heavy, additive-dense food feeds a far narrower range of gut microbes than whole food does, and a narrower gut is one more silent subtraction from an immune system already losing its calibration. We changed the menu and never noticed we'd also changed the diner. 8. The windows that stayed shut, you could hear the same story in the air of the house itself. Indoor life expanded across the late 20th century. More air conditioning, more sealed buildings, more hours breathing filtered, recirculated air instead of the messy, living air outside. It felt like comfort. It was comfort. A cool, clean, quiet room with the window shut against the pollen and the noise in the world. But a sealed room is also a room with the conversation turned off. Fewer microbes crossing the skin, fewer drifting through the lungs, fewer of the ordinary inputs a body evolved expecting all day long. We finally got the world out. We just forgot the world had been teaching us something. 9. The antibacterial everything. And then we went hunting for what little was left. Hand sanitizer, antibacterial soap, surface spray, wipes, and wipes for the wipes. The march toward chemical sterility accelerated for a genuinely good reason. It stopped infections, and infections used to kill people. But it stopped something else too, the low-level microbial contact that, for all of human history before this, was how an immune system learned restraint. Compare the gut bacteria of people living traditional lives with those living westernized ones, and the westernized gut turns up again and again carrying dramatically less diversity, sometimes dozens of species fewer. We didn't just get cleaner, we got isolated from the very organisms that used to teach the body when not to fight. 10. The diagnosis. That finally caught up, and here, because Pillar 5 demands it, is the honest counterpoint. Some of this rise isn't loss at all, it's recognition. Doctors in the 1970s underdiagnosed allergic disease constantly, dismissed it, misfiled it, missed it entirely. A real slice of the gap between then and now is simply better medicine finally seeing what was already there. That part isn't a tragedy, it's overdue. But the researchers who've tracked this down to the decimal keep arriving at the same wall. Better diagnosis explains part of the rise. It cannot explain all of it. Nothing about a clearer microscope accounts for a peanut allergy rate that tripled in a single decade. We didn't build a more dangerous world, we built a cleaner one, a more convenient one. And in every single upgrade, we quietly deleted a lesson the immune system was counting on. It didn't malfunction, it did exactly what it was trained to do. With training we forgot to finish.